Hello, it's Paul Valencia from Clark County Today. Tony Liberatore from Vancouver Public Schools, Fort Vancouver High Schools. What are you, number 2 guy, number 3 guy? What are you? No,
at this point, I don't know.
We'll just say
Who
associate
knows?
Principal. We won't get anyone in trouble.
It depends on the day.
Come on, Tony's a first-round draft pick, Paul. Let's go.
That's
Let's
true.
go.
I'm fighting allergies, so.
But if we,
Thank you.
How deep is the league? Is it 12 people or 6 people?
That's true.
So,
that's true. That's true.
Hey, first round is first round. 1-1, baby.
And we got Cale Piland from Evergreen Public Schools, the athletic director for Evergreen Public Schools. And we are here, once again, the Clark County Today Sports Podcast that needs a better name, and we'll get that eventually. I don't know. It's been over a year, and we're
15 months in, and we don't have a better name.
No, we don't. So
if we put a little effort into it, maybe we could come up with it.
I kind of like there's nothing wrong with it now.
Okay.
I'm used to it.
So we are recording this on March 27th, so it'll be spring break, next week, right?
Next week.
That is correct.
2 school days.
And obviously we talk a lot of high school sports, and we do have some high school sports stuff to talk about today. But right now it's kind of like the calm before the storm for spring sports, and then spring break will happen. Cale, you just mentioned it's kind of like for winter sports when the holiday break happens.
Yeah.
It's just like, and then people really get into it in January. And I think that's the same for baseball, softball, and soccer. Not for the athletes, of course. They're into it, but for the fan base and stuff. But
when it's 43 and raining at the track meet.
So, that's not enjoyable.
So I went to a week or so ago. I went to a baseball game because it was day 2 of that 7-day stretch.
Yeah, where it was really gorgeous.
70 plus or 65 plus. Yeah.
Now on the forecast, it was 5 days in a row in Portland to be over 70, and I have no idea if Portland made it. But if it did, it was only the 3rd time in recorded history that there were 5 consecutive days of 70 degrees in March.
Yeah.
And the baseball coaches that I talked to said, we've never, ever experienced this. So they had this incredible run, 7 or 8 days in a row of sunshine, and I think 5 of those days were high 60s or low 70s. So they must have loved that. And then, of course, here we are a couple days before spring break, and we're back.
Gross out there right now.
You got the quick dry out.
So, and,
in Evergreen Public Schools, we don't.
Oh, ouch. Thank you for that.
Because we
They
got
have turf.
We have turf.
They don't need quick dry.
We don't put quick dry on turf.
Yeah, that's true.
You just say, stop raining, please, and we play.
Boy, so Vancouver schools doesn't have turf fields everywhere?
No, we do not have turf fields everywhere.
They have two.
They have two.
They're nice, and Fort actually has one.
Yeah. That's right.
Has one of the two.
That's right. And so, but Evergreen has everywhere, right?
And I will go on record. I did vote for that. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate that.
Thank
Tony.
you.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm sure if I voted that time, because there's so many elections, if I voted that time, I'm sure I voted for it. If it was for sports,
wait a minute.
Well,
we were going to get political, and I just want to ask you now: if you voted that time, Paul,
there are 4 billion elections.
It doesn't matter.
There's more elections.
You're a citizen
than
of
days
the
year.
county, state, and United States of America.
I can understand you not remembering because it was a bond that we ran. I don't know. It was a long time ago. So
exactly. It was a bond. But if it was for sports fields, I would have said yes. If it would have been for math stuff, no way. No. Okay, I'm just kidding, everyone. I like to tease everyone. But
he likes to kid his partners on his podcast.
All right.
That's right. These these. No, I was going to say something worse that would get me in more trouble. So never mind. But anyway. So we're back to kind of rainy days, and but fortunately, a lot of schools though have those turf fields. So if it's not pouring at the time of the game, they're going to play it, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, you could even show up. I mean, all it has to do is literally stop raining, and you can start playing.
Right, and so that's been a nice thing for baseball and softball. I know, Fort has a softball turf field. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Do all the Evergreen schools?
Oh yeah, Title IX, Paul. We wouldn't just put in baseball and not softball.
I know. I know you wouldn't. I didn't know if they'd all gotten done.
Everybody, we have the same number of turfed softball fields as we do baseball fiels.
That's awesome. Now I can go really old school. What about your scoreboards? They better be the same size.
Oh, they're all there.
That's such an old. I'm not even going to explain that old joke.
No.
But holy cow,
that was one of the original old ones.
Yes. We don't want to go into that.
No, we don't. But But I will say it was always funny that people try to compare softball fields and baseball fields. And you can't.
The dimensions are very different.
The dimensions are very different.
Yes.
So, but anyway, so we got. But spring sports is going to end this year, Memorial Day weekend, like always. Correct?
Yep.
And that is now golf has always been
Or
during
it might actually be the weekend before Memorial Day this year. Anyway, but it's all on the same weekend. Yes.
Same weekend. I can look that up later for the next podcast. We'll look it up. And golf is always like on a Tuesday, Wednesday in the middle of the week because golf courses won't allow.
They don't want to give up their
they can't give up their
green
weekends.
fees. No.
Yeah. So we know golf is different, but every other sport is finished on Friday and Saturday of that week at the same time. So you got tennis. You got track and field, softball, baseball, and soccer all at the same place, or all in the same weekend.
Yes.
And it used to be, what did they call it? Spring Fest. They called it, and Vancouver even hosted, or Clark County hosted.
Yeah, we hosted it one year.
Where everything was in the same region, which I think is kind of cool, like a Super Bowl city. You know? And now they haven't done that in years for spring sports, so it's spread out everywhere. So I want to explain from a journalist perspective now. At Clark County Today, I am the only sports person at Clark County Today, and we don't travel for all of the events. We do other stories later for state championships, but at places that have a big high school sports presence, they would try to go everywhere, and it is tough to do in the spring when everything's going on at the same time. So that's always been a challenge, and now the newsrooms, and we're talking Seattle Times, Tacoma, all these newsrooms are so much smaller than they were even 10 years ago, 5 years ago. There's just not that many people because there's a lot of layoffs in our business. But so it's always been tough to cover all of those events, especially when they're in different locations or different parts of the, Spokane, Tri-Cities, Vancouver, whatever, Seattle, Tacoma. So that's going on for one more year, right, Tony? And then next year, they're splitting it up over 2 weekends. Is that correct? So someone tell me why.
Well, the simple answer is that when you run them all on the same weekend, the WIAA staff who's responsible for overseeing events, they get spread really, really thin. So you can't, like if you're running, you have golf everywhere. But if you're running 2 sports, you can't be 2 places at one time. So they'll make appearances at events and then have to leave to go to another sport where they might be in charge of. So that creates a lot of strain on their kind of, I guess, staff to be able to run what they feel is a quality event. So being able splitting, and I believe it's a 3-and-3 split, will allow for their staff, they feel, to run better events.
Cool.
So there's 23 spring sports state championships that the WIAA runs. And so
23.
Yep. I just looked on the schedule. It is Memorial Day this year.
When you're talking classifications.
Individual sports, classifications.
All classifications.
All classifications, excuse me. Right. So, 23 events over basically 4 days because of when they start golf, but
true. And then also in track and field is sometimes 3 days, right?
Track is 3 days. Yep. So it's just one of those things, and Mick, when he was here last spring, he talked about that.
Right.
Just splitting up the staff and trying to do it.
One of the benefits that our male athletes will see is because we do our split seasons for tennis and for golf. Mm-hmm. So our boys play tennis and they golf in the fall, but the state championships are in the spring. And so if you're a male athlete who plays soccer or plays baseball or runs track and field, oftentimes you if you've qualified for the state tennis tournament, you have to pick which sport you're gonna participate in. With that tournament being run a week earlier, and the golf tournament being run a week earlier, there'll be less conflict. So theoretically, a kid could play in the state tennis tournament the first weekend and then still be able to play soccer the second weekend.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
So there have been scenarios.
Yeah, there's a handful every year.
It happened. Columbia River had some athletes last year.
Yeah, and there's scenarios where those kids like literally leave one tournament to go to the other. Like if the schedules were to match up and they could actually play that. So the kids have done it. This will just make it easier for that to happen.
That's neat. And then from a media standpoint, again, thinking of Seattle Times or the News Tribune and Spokane, it'll just be easier to get people at those events. So that'll be more coverage statewide.
Sure.
In theory, I don't know if it'll
that's what I was wondering in theory. I was just wondering in practice, actually, does it?
Yeah. In the old days when they all had money and people, and I I enjoyed going to as many events as I could. I was the road warrior. I'd get in the car and drive anywhere, or sometimes fly. If there was an event in Spokane, we'd fly.
That's not a fair comparison, though, Paul, because you drove multiple times down and back to Oakland for football games on the same day.
That's true.
So having to drive over to Spokane is like that's like what, driving from here to Kelso to you, that's really, to most people.
But you got to remember though, every time I drove to Oakland, In-N-Out Burger was.
I was going to say there were the In-N-Out stops.
Now, how many? The question is, how many In-N-Out stops did you make?
Well, see, when I was driving to Oakland, there wasn't one in Kaiser, there wasn't one in Grants Pass. The one in Medford had just opened, so Medford, Redding, and then the Bay Area. They're all over the Bay Area. So.
See how many times in a row we can work In-N-Out into this podcast.
Oh gosh, yeah, maybe they'll sponsor us.
Hey, whatever. Hey,
I think
I'm down for double and animal style.
I think we've lost the Burgerville sponsorship. I'm sorry.
I haven't. Yeah, no, I'm the loyal Burgerville eater.
You have it on when we press record. I won't say what. No, I get. Yeah. So speaking of costs, hey Tony, you're going to the Mariner game tomorrow. That's going to be awesome.
Yes, opening day 2024.
We're going to talk about Mariners in a bit too. So all right. So cool. So yeah, we'll be back after the spring break, and we'll talk. Well, maybe we'll get an update on current spring sports and how things are going. We'll figure that out. But let's fast forward to next fall and December, because Seattle Times had breaking news today. Dun, 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 dun. Breaking news: the WIAA and the Husky Stadium, right? They've agreed.
Yep.
2 years.
2 more years.
Yep. So at least 2 more years. State championship football at Husky Stadium. I haven't looked at the dates. I'm assuming it's the same weekend. They haven't changed anything like that.
I mean, it's a week later, but everything's a week later next year.
Okay.
So it's where that you get that every, I don't know what is it, Tony, every 4 or 5, 6 years.
It might just be leap year or something.
They just the schedule has to get slid back 1 week. Otherwise, you're going to be starting football like August 8th.
So is the championship December 7th weekend, you think, or is it the 14th? What do you think it's? I think it's the 7th.
I'll check.
But anyway, but either way, it doesn't matter. I mean, the joke would be that it's not like the Huskies will be practicing then because their entire team is going to the NFL, right?
Well, yeah, but they've got a whole another entire team that's come in. I mean, who knows? The thing about college football right now is you don't know how good anybody's going to be because the teams are all brand new.
That's true too. But it is crazy that the Huskies are losing the entire offense. That's got to be. I'm not going to say unprecedented. I'm going to say it's rare.
Well, no, but the question would be, and I'm sure that this is a done deal because the initial deal was negotiated and done with Jen Cohn when she was the AD at the University of Washington.
Yep.
And then Troy Danning, is that?
Yep,
Danning had replaced her, and so that's who the WIAA was negotiating with, and then he up and leaves after 5 months or whatever he was there and goes to Nebraska. And so now Pat Chun, who was the Huskies stole from the Cougs, I would hope that Pat would honor the contract, but it's a new AD, so who knows?
Absolutely, yeah.
Now the good thing is Mick Hoffman is a Coug, so I don't know well, maybe it's not a good thing. I don't know. Those guys, I don't know how that would affect negotiations.
Yeah, well, maybe the new AD at the Huskies will kick the WIAA out like the Huskies kicked the Cougars and Beavers out.
Yeah, maybe.
We're getting there. But anyway, we talked about this after it happened. It was a big success. The game at Husky Stadium, the games, I should say, at Husky Stadium, considered a big success with the players and the coaches and obviously the WIAA, right? You were in these meetings, or you've heard the updates, Cale, and probably Tony too. But yeah, just a refresher of what it was like, or what
really no negatives, right? Yeah. It's a great experience for kids, and we've had the conversation about the environment of a high school stadium when it's packed and it's more intimate and it feels that way, but. For the high school kids that are playing the game, playing in a venue like Husky Stadium. And Husky Stadium is, I would be of the opinion that that's better than playing in whatever they're calling Seahawks Stadium now. Is it Quest still? Or
is it Lumen?
Lumen. There you go.
Wow. Bro, you're a Seahawks fan.
I don't
where they play.
Well, okay. I know I've been there plenty of times. I just don't know what the stinking name is.
Yeah, exactly.
And I do know that that Safeco is now T-Mobile, and there's a bunch of pink all over the place. But
But
I would argue that Husky Stadium, the environment in the venue, I would, if I was choosing where to watch a game, I would choose there.
Hey, Husky Stadium is one of the most beautiful outdoor stadiums in the world.
Yes.
In the world, with the lake right there. It's just it's amazing. And so, but and as you guys, if you've been following the podcast or just know me personally, you know I don't like 70,000 empty seats. They're very, very loud. But it's not about me, and it's about the players and the coaches and their fans, and they love going to Husky Stadium. It was pretty clear that they loved it. It was, for them, it was a lot better than going to Mount Tahoma High School.
Yes.
So congratulations, WIAA, and thank you, University of Washington Huskies, for getting this done for the athletes.
No, very cool.
Tony, what do you think? Did I miss?
I think we touched it. I think it's great for the kids. There was a quote, you mentioned the Seattle Times article, and Mick, that was the feedback he gave to the executive board, which was the coaches and the kids loved it.
Yeah.
So, and he talked about that too.
That's awesome.
It's for the kids.
All right. Let's get into some timely, not high school, but just recently high school. We got some March Madness stuff going on. How are your brackets?
Oh, mine's dead. It's toast. I still have the overall. I have Arizona winning it, but the rest of my Final Four is gone.
I have 13 of 16.
Wow.
The Sweet 16. Goodness. And then in an auction bracket, I put all my money in on one team, and they're still alive.
Okay. Is that Purdue?
It is.
All right. That's my champion.
Okay.
I was in the same auction bracket, and I had 4 teams, and they're all out.
Oh. I remember this auction bracket. Yeah. I was invited to along last year, and for some reason I couldn't go, and then I wasn't invited again. So I guess
if you turn it down, I think
that's exactly how it works.
Okay,
yeah. We got a waiting list of people who want to get in.
Yes, that's fun. You want me to let? No, I'll let them know you're.
I was invited to go to it, and I think anyway it was. I know it.
Yep.
So anyway, that's really cool. I do a strange one. It's not. I have a tournament. I bracket. I filled out a bracket on ESPN. I have Purdue winning it all. But I picked Purdue after my player draft. I do a little thing. It's just a small little pot, but you pick players from the NCAA tournament, and you just do total points. And you must pick 2 of your 8 guys must be from seeds 9 through 16.
Okay. And
it's really, really fun because now you're rooting for your players and your teams to win, because the more games they play, the more points I don't care if Purdue wins, but if they play all 6 games, that's a big deal for me, because I ended up with 3 Purdue players,
okay,
including Edie.
Yeah.
So I'd probably win the thing if Purdue makes it all the way there. I don't even like the rule. If I was running this, if I was commissioned, I would say you can only have 1 player per team, because that's what's been happening through the years. Is guys somehow figure out through this. It's a snake draft.
Yeah.
And oh wow, I got the North Carolina guy. Oh, and then I got another North Carolina guy, and then it just turns out, I'll take 3 of them, and then if they win it all,
you got it.
Yeah. So I don't like. I wish the rules were changed, but I'm just playing by the rules.
So I heard of it. I had never heard of this format, and maybe I've just been not paying attention. But someone was talking about running like a NFL survivor pools, but doing that for the tournament. So you can only pick a team once.
Oh.
But so in the first round, you can take UConn, but then if you never, so you need to say, you have to be strategic in how you're picking teams. So as long as that team wins,
right,
then you can pick again. But if you do it the same way in the NFL,
sure.
If you've taken UConn, you can't take them again. So
wow, that's interesting.
So that would be a lot of strategy into what you're doing and something like that. So
one pool I'm in, a guy won 39 in the 48 games.
Whoa!
I've never seen that.
That's impressive.
That's good.
Yeah,
that is impressive.
But if you look, all higher seeds. I mean, he had a couple of the upset, but this year I think that I heard something that this was the year that the higher seeds
was a lot of chalk.
Yeah. And then the women were the same thing for the first round. Was it all 32, or it's like 30 or 32 of the better seeds won?
Yeah.
And that's not such a strange thing in women's, but it's the second round where the games get more interesting.
Right.
And even though Stanford won, that was interesting. The Stanford women, I think, was that overtime? I think it might have.
It was.
and then Iowa was, the executives, the ABC ESPN executives were dying.
No!
Did they get on the phone? We need some free throws. We need some free
The
throws.
officiating was criticized for that game. That's
Big
all
time.
I'm going to say.
Speaking of Iowa,
it's
and I didn't confirm this. Was that true that Ice Cube offered Caitlin Clark $5 million to play the Big Three
League, and I think he confirmed it today. Yes. He actually, I think the quote I read, and again, I read it on the internet, so I'm not sure if it's true. But
I don't believe
signed
everything
Abraham
I read
Lincoln.
on the internet.
Yeah, right.
Abraham Lincoln told me not to believe everything on the internet. But he confirmed it, and he wanted to keep it secret until after the tournament, but somehow it got out.
Because that's just a summer league, right? Because she could still play. Is that be able to do WNBA and that, or is it just an inclusive Big Three?
That's the article I read said that they're looking into it because they only play once a week in the Big Three.
Right.
But the problem is the WNBA is also a summer league.
Yeah.
Spring summer league. And I'm guessing nobody wants their star player to fly to LA for a Saturday 3-on-3 game. So
probably not.
But $5 million talks.
And it would certainly Well, I'm guessing some people there might be a little jealousy in the WNBA if the rookie player is also getting $5 million for another league. So
it reminds me of the Herschel Walker, Steve Young contracts with the old USFL. Right? Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. I was a Portland Breakers season ticket holder.
Awesome. I love that too.
I love that. 9
Breakers games were fun.
They went 6-3 at home and 0-9 on the road, and I cannot believe we are talking USFL. And I pulled that off the top of my head. And it's true though.
Well, I just remember when the upstart league, right? Steve Young coming out, and he was legit All-American. I don't know, top 3 or 5 Heisman, but $40 million 40-year contract.
Yes.
That's what the LA Express gave him.
Yes.
And I've heard, now I have no way to confirm this right now, but that he was still getting money from that USFL contract. It's because it's almost done.
Right. Who's paying it though?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Right.
They must have put some money somewhere.
I know we're not supposed to go to politics, but maybe it's Donald Trump because he's the one who ran the USFL into the ground. I mean, he decided we're going to go.
But remember, he did win the lawsuit.
They did win $1.
Yes, he won the lawsuit.
Well, triple damages, so he got $3.
I think Pete Rozelle gave him $5 and said you can keep 2.
Right.
The sad thing about that is the more you read about that the NFL was about to absorb.
Yes, they were ready to expand.
There wasn't going to be the entire USFL, but it was going to be a handful.
No,
of those
it wasn't going to be 50 teams.
They were going to take them.
And I know the XFL and USFL's merging this year. I think they start this week, and I love it. I'm not going to sit there and plan my weekends over it, but when I'm home, I'll have it on because I love this stuff. But I love the USFL team names, the Memphis Showboats, the Houston Gamblers. Portland Breakers were kind of silly because
it was New Orleans first.
Started
Boston. That's right, Boston, New Orleans.
3 years it ran, and we got the 3rd year, and it was a big success. In
Marcus Dupree,
the Chicago Blitz. How could you leave that name out?
Chicago Blitz. What's that?
Wait, Dupree didn't. I thought he played 2 games and then got hurt.
He got hurt in the road on the week 1, and it was the road game.
Gosh.
He never played.
I remember this. So this is before the Breakers got to Portland. So I just, as a kid, you're like, oh, the Blitz. That's really cool. I'm going to root for Chicago. The Chicago owner and the Arizona Wrangler owner, one year, they traded entire organizations.
They just swapped?
They swapped.
Swapped owners.
The whole thing. It'd be like the Yankees and the Mariners just swapping everything.
Wow.
Hey, you make the playoffs more often.
Well, would we?
That's true. But I'd have
Yankees are on a drought.
I'd have to hate my own team at that point.
I know. I was going to say.
That's awesome. But I can't believe we're talking this much about the USFL. But it was so fun. Buford Jordan was the running back. Who came in for Marcus Dupree, and he was awesome. And we stopped Steve Young about the 2-yard line. We beat the LA Express at home, and I think Jim Kelly beat us. But I mean, there was some incredible.
Kelly was for
talent.
Houston, right?
Yeah, Kelly played for Houston.
Houston Gamblers.
So there's 2 Hall of Famers right there. I think Reggie White,
Memphis Showboats.
I don't think they ever played in Portland. I don't know.
I just remember that
we played in Memphis.
The Michigan Panthers took a lot of Michigan Wolverine and Spartans. Anthony Carter,
wide receiver,
unbelievable.
I swear he was at Michigan for 7 years.
Bobby Hebert was their quarterback.
There it is.
Bobby Hebert, and then he went to the Saints and had a great. Decent.
Career.
Yeah. No, I loved the USFL, and it was great because it was in the spring and it was real.
And it was good
talent.
football.
It really was.
At least when I was 12.
There was some real talent. Now, I think if you really got into looking maybe to some line play. I mean, I know there were some, but I think obviously where you would see a little bit of a drop. But I mean, there were some names.
Yeah, I have no idea how we got here, but here we are. So.
It's your fault.
It's March Madness.
It's your fault.
USFL. So.
Well, I mentioned Caitlin Clark, and then I was like, wait a minute, that reminded me of Steve Young.
Yeah, that is.
Funny. You need to do a better job of moderating this,
That's
Paul.
right. So,
sorry.
Keep us on the rails, please.
No way. You talk Raiders or Portland Breakers, I'm there for you. But no, Caitlin Clark is so fun to watch. I love it, and I love the women's storylines are incredible, and so it's a lot of fun this year. And then the men's, I don't know. I think I watched more than I normally do. I actually watched a little bit more than I'm enjoying it. And maybe it's because I have, no offense, I've stopped watching the NBA at least until the playoffs. We've talked about that. You go to games. I mean, if I went to games, of course, I'd enjoy going to the games. But as far as just watching on TV, I'm just waiting for the playoffs because they all almost. It seems like half the stars don't care until the playoffs.
It's rough when the Blazers are bad for me. I'll be honest. It's rough.
That's true too.
As a partial season ticket holder, it's rough for me when the Blazers are bad.
Yeah, no kidding. So,
here's what's really rough about it. So I have seen them play. They've hosted the Nuggets twice. I had tickets for those games. I have yet to see Nikola Jokic play.
Well, he took both days off.
That's Paul's point.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't care. They take what are they?
Wear
and tear days.
So when the Nuggets come to Portland, they don't have Jokic doesn't have to play. They're gonna win. They won both games without him. Mm-hmm. So
it just drives me insane because again, I'm showing my age and my old man waves at cloud or yells at cloud type stuff, but. Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Larry Bird.
Badge of honor.
They didn't take days off, and and many of them were flying regular airfare. They were not. Maybe they got first class, but they were on regular planes at regular airports. Flights. I saw the Lakers in 1989 in Indianapolis at the airport as I was getting. It was like, oh my gosh, it's the Lakers. They just played and they just walked right by me, all of them, including Magic. So it's like if Magic Johnson can fly with the regular people and still play 82
games.
Yeah, when you're on a flying luxury yacht.
Yeah. I'm sorry, LeBron. Actually, I don't even want to bring LeBron in there. The guy has been in the league 45 years, and he's still a top 5 player.
Yeah.
And if he wants to take a day off, fine. But I'm talking about the younger stars. Yeah. No, you are not taking a day off. No way. So
was it Jason Tatum that said, "I'm good for 50 to 55"?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said.
And if the owners don't care,
right? Whatever. Get your check.
Well, then you've lost me until I'll see you in May when you guys start the playoffs because I just don't care. If you don't care, I don't care. And I guess that's one of the reasons I love the NFL so much is that Week 1 matters to everybody on an NFL 100%. Roster, and Week 7 matters.
And I know you're not going to say it, but April 10th matters for baseball too. I'm just saying, it's game 17, Paul. It matters somehow.
It should matter, but it
certainly when you finish one game out of the playoffs,
it certainly doesn't matter to your favorite team.
Wow, brother. Are we going 54% right now? Come on.
All right. Tony, let's talk about your love for the Mariners, and you got a chance to go to tomorrow's game.
Yeah, tomorrow we're going to hit opening night, T-Mobile. A little pomp and circumstance for opening night, and I'll even put the bunting out at home. That's what I do for opening day and the World Series, and so go cool. M's.
You really do that? That's awesome. Cale, when will your first Mariner game be this year?
I don't know. I'll probably try to go.
Because you're going out of town.
Yeah, we'll be down. We're going down to the desert, play a little golf, but I will probably try to get up there before UW is out. Because my daughter is going to UW, and I can go up and I can meet her, and we can go to a game. So I don't have anything officially planned yet, but it'd be something like that.
They still have Wednesday home games a lot of times during their homestand.
Yeah,
the Mariners.
Yeah, and Wednesday's getaway day if they do it.
Getaway days.
Yep. So that'll be an afternoon.
Those are cool.
Yep.
So in case you want to ask me, I don't see myself ever going to an Oakland A's game this year unless they're in Seattle. and I got.
What about a Las Vegas A's game?
Oh gosh, I can't believe these guys are still playing. planning on coming to
They're,
Vegas.
I heard that the city of Oakland made another proposal.
Yeah, well, I hope Oakland can save them. I really do. I just think it's funny. The A's and the Raiders have been feuding for years and years and years, and now the Raiders say, "Fine, we're out of here. We found our own way." And then the A's are going, "But we miss you. We miss you. We want to come back." So yeah, and then I've got a relative who's just as big a Raider fan as I am, but he also loves to give me crap. And he said, "Oh yeah, Paul, aren't you going to love it as a PSL owner when they make the Raider Stadium a baseball stadium until the A's stadium is built?"
Right.
And I said, "Over my dead
They will
body."
not do that. I know there's no way the Raiders do that again.
No way, no. Over my dead body. Yes.
Ain't happening.
But I better not say that. I could
That's
die.
true.
So,
Sorry.
yes, because anything, money talks.
Yeah, well, true.
So, no, I don't think Allegiant Stadium could be turned
No,
into
that would
a
be-
I
baseball.
don't think it's big enough, is
Yeah,
it?
it isn't big enough. It's not a cookie cutter. That's the beauty of Allegiant Stadium. It was
Well, and that-
built for football.
Yeah.
And,
The rollaway turf stuff and all that would be weird.
No, it couldn't. But it is funny to see the drawing. The drawing that was made for hey Raider fans. Here's where second base will be, and I was like, no.
September home game and there's the dirt patch.
Yeah, exactly. So what did I miss? Anything?
I think we're good.
I think we're good.
Good. So, oh gosh, yeah, this is a quick one for us, but again, it's right before spring break. Do you? I said you're going to the desert to golf.
Yep.
The desert meaning California desert.
Palm Desert. Yep.
Desert. All
Yeah,
right.
we're just hanging out.
You're just hanging out, and right now I'm just hanging out. I am going to be going to Vegas, but the week. I guess it'd be the end of spring break. I'm going that weekend for a couple of days. I'm actually going to go watch the NCAA championship game at the Westgate with some friends.
Oh,
Okay.
So
that sounds like
the
fun.
Westgate is a great sports book. So,
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that and just going down there for a couple of days. No, nothing crazy, anything like that. But right now we have no plans for spring break, so which is odd for our family. But Luna's a senior, so but we're going to probably do something after graduation.
Sure.
So give her
Perfect.
graduation gift. Other than that, it's always great talking with you guys. And yeah,
All right.
see you guys next time.
See ya.
Thanks.
Bye.